Super rich Americans are getting younger and multiplying. The average age is 47 for those with at least $25 million, a study finds according to Bloomberg. TikTok's monthly users has grown from 198 million in 2018 to over a billion users as of 2021. The metaverse, a topic that was barely searched just months ago, is now skyrocketing to the top of Google search. It's pretty clear that our society is changing and at a very rapid pace over the last few years. And technology is driving much of that change. And as a result, you might be asking yourself, well, how do I win in a world where technology is changing super fast, whether it's in my career or my business or my personal life? Well, in today's episode, we'll be talking about the 3 ways businesses are using technology to become money-making machines in the new economy. All right, some quick context before we get going. Number 1, you have to understand the concept of profit and loss in the business world. When new things happen in the economy, it changes a lot of the variables in the game of business, creating a need for businesses to adapt and innovate in order to stay profitable. Because what's usually happening when the market is great and everyone's having a good time, business is good, business is easy, is the businesses don't have to focus as much on the experience or the product or the efficiency of their business because everything is trending upward and there's not as much fat to trim out of a business. But as soon as a market starts to tank, buyers become much more skeptical and cautious with how they spend their money. And this can often lead to businesses having to rethink the way they run themselves, whether it's improving the experience, improving the product, or becoming a more efficient company in order to return back to a profitable state. And the really interesting thing about where we are today and all of the technologies I just mentioned at the intro of this video is that we are in a technology boom. There is more technology than ever before available at the hands of everyday people, allowing them to use technology to improve their product, their experience, their lives in so many different ways. So what we're seeing is an influx of technology being used in pretty much every industry to the point where you're pretty much going to hear people say they're in tech in one way or another because tech is pretty much part of every industry at this point. So no matter what industry you're in, it's going to become critical to understand how to use technology to improve your business, knowing when to use technology, when not to use technology, and exactly what kinds of technologies are best to use to improve your business. So when we think about sales and marketing, we have to split it into 3 main areas: traffic, conversion, and then payment or checkout. The way a lot of these new rich are using technology at the sales and marketing level is by using social media advertising and sales systems to automate and scale the sales process. This means that they're using less people and more technology to complete sales that normally would have taken an army of salespeople to complete. For example, on the left here, we've got Dave, who might have been a telemarketer for your company in the past, but the reality is that he cost too much money because he needed breaks, he forgot to pitch the upsell, leading your company to not see as much profits, and there was only a limited number of daily calls he could make. Whereas on the right side here, we have a social media ad running for you 24/7, maybe going viral and automatically leading people who are qualified for your product or service straight to your sales page to close the deal on repeat. So these new companies are able to scale up their sales in a way that they never have been able to before. They don't have to train new people. They can just install the right systems and essentially build a pipeline that allows them to create a money printing machine. And even for those who maybe aren't using social media ads and actually collecting money on a sales page, there is also a lot of interesting technology that can be used at the checkout page. And even for these companies that may not be using technology to drive traffic onto a sales page, there are companies that are benefiting from technology at the checkout stage or the payment processing page. This can include grocery stores or just everyday brick and mortar restaurants. A really good example I'll share is this new bakery called Crumbl Cookies, which is a very rapidly growing business. And there's no doubt in my mind why. You see, when I went into this store for the first time, they had a couple self-checkout kiosks and then just one employee running a tablet to take your order if you needed a little bit more hand-holding to, get your order in the system. But essentially at the heart of this, they have these tablets that are making sure, guaranteeing that each customer goes through the sales process in a very specific way to maximize profits. See, when I placed my order on the tablet, it didn't just let me order what I wanted and then check out. It asked me, hey, would you also like to buy this other cookie or this cupcake? And it tried to upsell me in a way that was very systematic and you could tell. What this means is that they have a much more efficient checkout process because they don't have employees there running the process for every single customer. Maybe 60% of customers are able to check out on their own, allowing them to use their workers for other tasks like actually baking the cookies. The other aspect is that because the customer is going through this streamlined and systematic sales process, they get asked about an upsell every single time, kind of like how McDonald's will say, would you like fries with that? Except you don't have to depend on an employee to remember their training in order to execute on this. The tablet is a technology that will get it right every single time, allowing you to convert more revenue into your business as a result. So yeah, the new rich are using sales and marketing technology in new and innovative ways. Whether it's a brick and mortar business or a totally online business, they're able to find ways to weave technology into the sales process to make it more efficient, generate more sales, and most importantly, generate more profit to allow them to collect their riches. When we get to product or service-based businesses, it becomes more a factor of how good is the product or the service. What kind of experience does your customer have when they engage with your business? And if we just think of a coaching business as an example, a lot of coaching businesses are notorious for operating in a one-on-one coaching format. However, this can have bottlenecks in its own way, because if you just have one-on-one coaching, you don't have infinite time in the day to service as many people as you want. So a way that I've seen coaches use technology to their advantage to make more profit and help more people is by implementing a group call format instead of one-to-one calls. This allows them to reach pretty much unlimited numbers of people. And in fact, it also can be more convenient for their customers because their customers don't have to wait a few weeks to get a hold of them and have a chance of asking a question, but instead can maybe even access them as much as daily, depending how many times a week that coach is having a call. In a totally different light, if we think about just your run-of-the-mill grocery store, the way that grocery stores have traditionally operated is you go to the store, you grab the groceries yourself, and you go and check out and bring those groceries home. You probably go to the grocery store that is closest to your home or wherever you're living because it's more convenient because the location. Whereas of lately, I've started to see a lot of grocery stores start to implement apps and grocery delivery to enhance the customer experience and convenience. Meaning customers don't have to necessarily live closer to your store than another to become a loyal customer, because you might have a subscription that allows them to get unlimited delivery for a fee every year, meaning they'll come back to your grocery store every time they want to order just because it's more convenient than having to go to any other store. More specifically, the grocery store that I shop at actually in its app has recipes that you can search through and basically tap in one button, add all of the ingredients you need into your cart and have them delivered later that day. This is essentially the HelloFresh or the Blue Apron of your local grocery store. So they're offering a superior service by having convenient meal planning and recipes and allowing you to add it to your cart in one tap. So in this case, we see how the product or the experience that customers are having with these types of businesses can be drastically improved by using technology or just add a little bit more efficiency to the business side while offering the same exact experience for the customer. So as a result, we see businesses either making more profits or just bringing in more customers because they have a superior experience to anyone else that's out there in the market. Well, for a while, this has been the case. Well, thanks to automation technology that's now pretty readily available to the average person out there, these companies are able to use technology to completely automate a certain aspect of their business. So back to the coaching business, if you've ever been through any sort of coaching program, there's usually some sort of accountability aspect to it, which often involves a coach having to manually message you and custom ask how things are going and use their time to customize that experience, which can often be more work than the latter, which is automated messaging. Now, it doesn't need to be fully automated, but these businesses are able to initiate conversations by sending an automated text with custom variables to basically personalize the experience to that person and streamline that process so there isn't a person that has to actually go and manually type up a message. Maybe there's a person instead who just follows up once somebody replies to the automated message. So in the end, it makes it less work for the business. It's actually lower cost, which allows a business to pay more for a customer or even just take home more profit. Another quick example of how companies are simplifying their operations using technology is a personal experience I had recently. Now, when you normally go to a restaurant, 99 out of 100 times, there's a waiter there that will come take your order, water your glass, bring your food, clear your dishes, and then take the check to you at the end of the meal. I recently went to a restaurant where they actually had QR codes on the table where we scanned our phones, pulled open a sales page where we could select the entrees we wanted and pay on our phones all in one swift step. Now, at first we were a little bit put off because it seemed like the restaurant was being lazy, right? Replacing something that could have been a personalized experience with a lazy app where we have to do all the work ourselves. Now, whether you're a fan of this or not, the reality is that I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was different, and although I still hold a special place in my heart for those custom experiences that a server might be able to offer, it was kind of nice to be able to just order my own food right from the phone and place the order as I was ready and have already completed the payment, not having to wait for the waiter to ask if we're ready to order, and most importantly, not having that long wait at the end of your meal where you're frustrated because your waiter is still helping another table and hasn't brought you the check yet. And if you think about it from the business side, they are able to not have as many waiters as a result. Because if your waiters aren't out taking orders, they can be doing other things like bussing dishes, bringing orders to tables, and checking in on guests just to make sure that they're satisfied. So you can have less staff or a better experience. And more importantly, this streamlines the entire ordering process and payment process, hopefully reducing the costs within your business. And there's so many technologies today that are out there specifically to help businesses streamline their operations and either increase profit or reduce the number of staff they need to run their business. That's why a lot of the top companies today that are technology companies have a very small headcount. It's because they don't need a bunch of people to create their product or service. They actually just need a small army in order to build a massively leveraged technology. Now, at this point, you're probably saying, well, these are all great examples, and I kind of get where you're going with this. It's really nice to see these businesses, but what's actually in it for me, and how do I implement these technologies into my own career or into my own business? Well, the reality is that you have to understand technology. I haven't really found any other way around it, and it just takes that extra effort to keep up with the latest things. Of course, there's principles like technical quotient, which is your ability to understand new technologies at a rapid pace, adaptability, like being able to adjust to new scenarios, having the right mental models and frameworks to be able to navigate new technologies and new industries. And then lastly, the leadership to trailblaze and come up with new ideas and innovate within your own industry. And quite literally, that's what I've dedicated this channel to figuring out, is how do we distill a lot of these new technologies down into a simple and easy way to navigate what is now becoming an exponential world. Meaning the number of technologies that are coming out every single month is growing at a faster and faster rate. So recently what I've done is I've created what's called the Tech Powered Leaders Slack community, where you can come join in on the fun with me and other tech-savvy leaders who are interested in understanding the latest trends in technology. So whether you're somebody who works within a company and has ambitious goals, or you own a business that has ambitious goals, I would highly encourage you checking out this Slack community to engage with other people who have similar interests and aspirations. I'll leave a link below in the description so you can check it out on your own accord. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more content on how technology is shaping the future of our health, business, relationships, and so much more. See you next time.